Hello, today I want to talk about price elasticity. We've talked about the impact that price has on your bottom line and your profitability. So I put together a little spreadsheet about price elasticity. What that's all about is basically when I raise my price, what effect does that have on my volume and my profits? If I reduce my price, what ifs? What if I did that and I lost this much business or I gained this much business? What would that do to my bottom line? So it just kind of shows the impact before you make a decision. Remember that price is critical in what you do, and that I would say probably 80 to 90% of small businesses probably underprice their products and services. And you got to look at it. If you're looking at ideal customers and you're saying that, we want to sell and attract ideal customers, they value what you do, the added value you bring to the equation. So those price buyers out there, which in nearly every market studies have been done that show it's somewhere between 25 to 30% of any market buys strictly on price. So if you're not getting 10, 15, 20% of the people that come to you pushing back on your price really hard, then you're probably priced too low. So keep that in mind. That's one gauge of where I'm priced in the marketplace. If I'm getting no pushback whatsoever on my pricing, then you're probably priced too low. Let's say you do service work. If nobody ever says anything about the price that you charge for your service work, then you have the opportunity to move that price up a bit until you start getting pushback. Same thing with products you sell. you know, Push them up a little bit, test things out, push them up, and see when you hit that resistance where you start getting price problems. But let's look at the power of pricing. So in this case, there's a last 12 months. I go back. My revenues are $100,000. My cost of goods sold is 50,000. My gross margin is 50,000 or 50%. So that's what those goods and services cost me to resell at $100,000 is 50,000. My other expenses are 45,000. So I made a 5% profit or $5,000. So let's go forward and say, okay, let's say that we're going to have a 5% increase on our business, and that we're going to have a 2% increase in our expenses for next year. So this 5% on the 100,000, if I sold the same number of units, I would sell $105,000 in products in this case. My Because of that 5% increase, my gross margin goes up to 55% from 50. My cost or expenses go up to 45.9, and I end up making 11% or $11,850 by selling the same number of units as I did before, but with a 5% increase. So you can see it more than doubled my profitability, that 5% increase. But let's say that, hey, I did the 5% increase and I hit that resistance and I didn't negotiate and I ended up losing from 105 to $90,000. So that would be about, $95,000 would be about a break even. If I lost $10,000 or that base of business, I'd still make more money. So if I lost from 105 to 95, I'd still make more money at that level. So what does price decreases do? They're pretty powerful also. So let's say that I had a 5% decrease, so those same number of units would go from 100,000 to $95,000 in sales because I reduced my price by 5%. My expenses would still go up, so I'd end up losing $3,150 if I basically had that price increase but didn't sell any more units. But let's say I sold more units. So I sold 112,000. So I went from really starting out at a base of 95,000 to 112,000, which is pretty close to 20% growth. I still don't make as much money as I did the year before. I'd have to probably go to somewhere around $114,000 to be able to just about break even. So I'd have to grow my business over 20% to equal the same amount of profitability I did the year before. So that's the power of pricing. Small incremental or decreases in your pricing can have a big impact on your bottom line. So really take a hard look at your pricing. Don't be afraid. Don't have some courage. Don't be desperate and test some things. If you're not getting pushback on your pricing by some 10, 15, 20% of the people that walk through the door that you come in contact with out in the marketplace, then your price too low.